What's up, guys? Welcome back to the L Bosons channel, and today we got something different for you. Our first tier list. And because we are very strange, we decided our first tier list should be letters. It's
The
kind of fitting.
alphabet.
It's the alphabet.
It's kind of fitting
classic,
because
you know? I mean,
come on. The tier list is going to be like S, A, B, C, D, F tier. We gotta figure out why those letters represent those tiers.
exactly. It may not exactly align with our actual
We're getting to the
personal
bottom
interests.
of the whys of the tier
Exactly.
list.
Exactly.
Literally the whys. We have Y in here. Alright,
Oh.
boys, are we ready? So I have control of the tier list, and I will
Alright.
be discussing
Yes.
each letter's placement with the boys here. Let's first start with the first letter of the alphabet, A. Where are our thoughts on the letter A? I'm gonna just place it here
I mean, it's the first letter.
at first.
So, I mean, like, it has to be at least... I think it has to be an A tier.
I feel like it has
I
to at
mean,
least be an A tier.
A being
but
an A tier
yeah.
is a solid placement. Also, keep in mind it's a vowel, and vowels are very important.
I feel
Because
since
you
it's
need
the
to have a vowel
first,
to make a word work.
I feel like since it's the
also
first and the most
letter,
memorable,
very representative,
yeah.
very memorable. And I mean, come on, A, that's a pretty solid sound.
Personally, I think I would put this at S.
Yes, I agree.
I feel like it should be in the S tier. It's the first letter. It's a
Nah.
vowel. I mean, what are you looking more into a letter than A?
That is true, but at the same time, A isn't like one of the very common letters, like S or T or R or E. It's not one of those. So I think that's why it earns the A tier. Let's settle it next to the B tier, but that's not where I'm putting it yet. So
I
what
feel
are our
like
thoughts on B? I don't think B is definitely not S tier.
B is definitely
There's no
not
way
S tier.
it's
It's
not
not
S
even
tier.
close. I think
Not
we're putting
S tier.
this at a solid D tier. Personally, I don't like B.
D tier.
Oh,
That's interesting.
I have beef with
Ooh.
B.
To
I'm
be
just
fair,
gonna be honest.
B is a very weird letter.
Well, you
It's
can't
the
have
only
beef
letter
without
in the
B.
alphabet
I mean,
that makes that sound. You cannot replace B in
You-
any situation. So I
That's
think that
true.
keeps it away
I mean,
from D or F tier.
The,
I
the
feel
letter
like it
V
should
is
be.
right there, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's
V
true.
is
And if we're
there, but at the same time, you don't get that bounce. Okay, V does not have that bounce that B has.
But again, you can't spell beef without the B. So I think it's a good solid
Honestly,
C. I feel like it's a solid mid tier.
I think I have to agree with
C.
Nick here, C, just because of how weird
I think
it
2 is a
feels.
little. Yeah, I think D is a little too
That's
low
fair,
for
that's
B.
fair.
I think it's perfectly mid at where it is.
Letter is C. Where do we think C is?
F tier.
I think B right off the bat.
B tier.
Honestly, I like B. I like it being in B tier.
Yeah.
I personally don't agree with you
First
on
off,
that one.
C can take the place of both S and K. We don't need those two letters if we have.
I feel like we should put it in C tier, below B. I mean, in front of B, but it's still C tier. I don't think it deserves to be.
I
upright
can
with
live with C tier. I can agree with that.
Okay.
I agree,
Because,
it's better.
It has to
but
be
not that
bumped
much
down
better.
for making the same sound as both S and K.
Yes, I agree. I agree
Yeah,
with
sometimes. But, stupid.
Alright, next-
Stupid English alphabet.
D. What do we want?
I think that's a-
what about D?
that.
At
This is a
least
tough
a
one.
B.
This is a tough
At least a
one.
B.
I don't. I feel like it should be at least B too.
B or higher.
Problem with this
I think it should be
is
B. I agree with B. Because D
Okay.
is similar to B though. It's essentially the same. D and B, they're very similar. So why shouldn't we put D at the same level as B though?
But you wouldn't get that do though. You
'Cause
wouldn't be
D
getting
is
that
just a
do re
stronger
mi.
letter.
I mean, without the do, I mean, your vocal cords are shot for for that singing. So I feel like D deserves to be in B, and it should be higher than C and B,
Yeah,
just on the basis of like
D
singing.
is just a stronger letter.
It
in my
just
opinion.
clearly
That's
is.
It
fair,
just
that's
feels better.
It just feels
That's-
harder.
That's
and
very
stronger.
fair.
As
I think
as
I
a
agree.
English enjoyer of 16 years, I feel that D is a strong letter. So
Yeah.
All right. Right off the bat, I'm not even gonna have a conversation about E. It goes into S tier. There's no doubt. E carries.
Yeah,
carries.
E
Fair.
carries. E carries.
E
It,
carries the language.
Yeah.
One of the single most common letters in the alphabet.
but it takes the
Most commonly
Yep,
used. It's
I
a
agree.
solid E sound. It's very, useful.
But it begs the question
It's very
here
versatile.
for
It's
its
very versatile.
for its use for so
Not
many
only-
in the words. Does
Not only does E make a decent sound, but it can also bring out sounds from other vowels.
That is true. It gets rid of
that's actually pretty good.
those stupid silent vowels and letters.
Yes.
And yeah,
E
I
not
agree.
only has its own potential, but brings out the potential of other letters, and that's why it earned
Yep.
the S tier. Now, what about F? Where do we think F goes?
Not an F tier. Not
if
F.
if it wasn't for the meme F to pay respects, it would be it's trash.
It
yeah,
is
I agree.
pretty.
Yeah,
It is pretty garbage
honestly,
without.
The meme.
F belongs in
Yeah.
the F tier. Let's be real.
But the meme, I mean, the
Yeah, the,
memes, you can't discount the memes here. I feel it should get somewhat
No,
credibility
I
for it.
feel
F represents failure because F is a failure to the alphabet.
Damn. So why didn't we put
Burn.
A in the S tier
roasted
then?
that F.
F has earned its placement in being the symbol for failure.
I feel like we should have put
So,
A in S tier.
It sits there.
This
it
is just
stays
making
there.
it seem
there.
bad.
I am not negotiating about F not being an F tier. I'm not negotiating. It belongs
We
there.
can change these letters afterwards if we feel uncomfortable. Some placements.
We can have
Yeah.
a discussion about it at the end, but this is like initial impressions.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
We can reorganize it later. Now G. Where do we want G to be? Where are we
D
putting
tier.
D
G?
tier. Yeah, that's
D?
the first thing I
That's
thought too. I thought it was D tier.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I like placing G in D tier because it has caused so many arguments about pronunciation, this letter alone. Like,
Yeah.
is it J or is it G? Which one? That's why,
Yeah, see,
honestly, the only
if
thing
you're-
keeping it from F tier is because it's the only letter that can make the G sound.
and it's
which
pretty much
isn't a bad
impersonating.
sound.
Yeah, it is
The
impersonating
G,
the
the
J.
deep
I
G
mean, it could-
sound is honestly pretty fire, so that's what keeps it from going into F tier.
Yeah, you can't get the glug
Yeah,
glug
I
without
agree.
the G, bro. So personally, I think we need to keep it in the D tier, just because
H.
D goes so hard.
H is next. H is next. Where do we think about H?
This one, I think it's
Honestly,
C.
That's tough.
I think it's C.
Personally, it's definitely a lower tier letter.
I feel like
Definitely
it should
lower
be
tier.
behind B. It should be C. Pretty
Think
mid.
about
I
it
think I
this
agree.
way.
Put it in
H,
C.
H, a lot of the time, is there for no reason. It serves no purpose a lot of the time. And other times, it just makes other letters sound different. In which case, you might as well just, like, make another letter for that sound. Honestly, the only reason the H is even there is for vanity's sake. Which, who cares about vanity in a name? Honestly, I think H deserves D tier.
You know what? I
Also,
agree.
the sound it makes is garbage anyway.
You know, that's fair.
Because at the very
Honestly-
least, there's no arguments about H. The only real argument that H presents is making spelling difficult, which a lot of letters do.
Yeah.
Now for I. Where do we want to put I?
I think this.
that's an S
I
tier.
think this deserves an S tier
Do
too.
you think it's an S tier?
It's an S tier.
Think about it. It is the most used pronoun ever. I.
That is
Literally
true.
the most
It is literally I.
individualistic letter out there.
It is.
That
It's
is a good point.
and it describes first
also
person.
think of
you know,
it
that's
this
like
way.
the key sign. Without I mean, we
Think of
wouldn't
it
know.
this way, though. I also can sometimes make the same sound as E, which I feel like bumps it down a level to A.
But I feel like
Well,
if it's
you also
if
gotta
E
think about it.
is making it sound so good in the S tier, I feel like that I has that carrying it for them, and I feel like they should be S tier
Yeah,
just
like,
because they get carried from the E.
I disagree about
Yeah,
I being an S. I
when
think
you were
I is
saying
an
that
A.
it sounds like E, that literally is a good thing because E is such a good letter.
It's such a good
No, but
letter.
then- but
I
then it's
is
just-
the
yeah.
most simple letter ever.
No, I think if
I
a
is the
letter
most
sounds like
simple
another
letter. It's
letter,
literally
that
a
bumps
line.
it down, because then you don't need that the letter has less purpose then. It's just there for more confusion, which in the English language we have enough confusion, so I think that bumps it down.
But I feel
if
like
we're
having,
gonna have a
I
sound,
think
we
we
but
should
I
only
think
have
it
tier.
can
one.
ride the
No,
tail
I think
codes here.
I think high A tier. I think high A tier.
But no, but
I really want it to be S tier
listen
though.
to this. Listen
You
to
want it
this.
to be S
Listen to
tier
this.
because
Hold
it's
up.
the one vowel in your name. Okay.
Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this.
No, that
That is 100% why you want it to be an S tier.
No, this is why I deserves it
I
to
don't
be
even
S
have
tier.
an A in my first name.
Dude, I deserves
Bro,
it to be an S
Chris,
tier.
the one vowel is I, and of course you would want I to be an S tier. And same with you, Nick.
I before E, except after C. I rest my case. It needs to be an S.
I mean,
You're
it's
giving
right
it
there.
you're giving it S tier
It's
just
l-
because it has a another stupid grammar rule
It has
that
a
just
whole
makes more
grammar
confusion in the
rule.
English language.
It has a
That
whole grammar
honestly,
rule. It
that
literally
bumps
has
it down
a
even
whole
more. That bumps
It
it
has
down
a
even more.
whole
If you're gonna make
grammar
more
rule.
confusion with a whole rule
It
of
has
I
a whole
before E
grammar
except
rule.
after C and when sounding like A as a neighboring way and on weekends and holidays and all throughout May, and you always read on no matter what you say. It's so garbage.
No, but listen to this.
Why?
How many letters in the English alphabet have a rule just specifically made for them, like I? Not that many. I mean, you can't even name
It's
another
I
one.
and E, fool.
But I has a specifically purpose for that. So I think I deserves to be an S. I don't know how it's in the same tier
No,
A.
no, I am not.
Deserve.
I am
It has to go
not.
S.
It
I
has
am
to go
not
S.
letting you guys put I in S tier.
Buddy, this
Okay,
is two-thirds
it makes
majority.
more
We live in
confusion
the-
in the English language because of that rule, and it serves some of the purpose that E already serves. Therefore,
But
it
we
goes
put an
into
E in
upper
the
A.
S tier. I feel like it deserves to be
We
put
put
up.
E in the S tier because it is the number one letter in the alphabet. It
I
has
don't
earned
see
that
why we-
spot for bringing out the potential in other letters. It is one of the most common letters, if not the most common, in the English language, and it has good sounds. I does not do nearly that much.
That's not
okay?
even
If
true.
you want to be an
I-
S tier, you have to earn it.
I feel like
Okay?
it does earn
All
it.
I
It
have
earned a whole
is being its
grammatical rule.
own word, and that's it.
It earned
all
a
I
whole
does is
grammatical
have its
rule
own
with
word,
the
and that's
letter
it,
E
okay?
in the S tier. I feel as if
Having
it's
no.
had its
No.
coattail.
Having your own grammatical rule is not a good thing. That's a bad thing. It makes more confusion. It makes the language harder to learn, and it bumps it down a level. Okay.
Well, no,
I'm being
wait a
generous
minute. Now,
putting
wait
it
a
in A.
minute. Now, wait a
I
minute.
am being generous putting it in A. Honestly, the more we talk about this, the more I want to put I in B or C.
No, you can't put it in B or C just because you're getting irritated. Hey, that's another I word. You just
No,
can't
no,
do
no,
that.
no, no.
It
This is not about
deserves to be in its
irritation.
S tier.
No.
It deserves its
It
S
does,
tier. And
what does
rightfully
I
so.
do? What? No,
Did
explain to
I
me. What
do?
does I do? What? How does I go the
us.
extra mile?
It is myself. It is me, myself, and I. Without that I, it's only two person, and it don't make any sense unless we have the I in the S tier. It's just that go.
Notice how
I agree. It has to be in the S tier.
It has to be in the S tier.
it can't be in
You
the S
can't
tier.
lower
You're
it.
giving it way too much
It has to
credit
be.
for being its own word. Okay, you can only give it so much credit.
No,
I
we're not
is
giving it
lower.
enough credit. Is what we're doing.
What do you
It's its
mean?
own word.
A is
E
its own word too,
E
and
doesn't
we
have
still
its
put it
own
in A
word.
tier.
E doesn't have its
Bro.
own word, buddy.
Yeah.
E doesn't need its own word because it carries the language so hard. Okay?
But I does
E
too.
is
I
the
does
number
too.
one.
Without I,
No,
we're
it
not
doesn't.
myself. We're not
I
myself
doesn't
or
do
my.
crap. I is garbage, okay? You know what? It's going back down to B.
No. You
No.
cannot put it in
This
B.
is-
You
this
cannot
is
put
not
it
a
in the same
dictatorship.
tier
This
as
is a
B.
democracy.
This is a democracy.
Put it
Two-thirds,
back up.
buddy.
Not
Two-thirds, buddy.
S.
Put it back
Two-thirds,
up.
You,
buddy.
I am
Two-thirds,
not
buddy.
gonna
It's
read.
two-thirds.
Put it
It's
back up.
literally two-thirds, buddy.
I is not in S tier, okay? If
Put
I
it
is
back
literally
up.
an
No,
S
you-
tier. It is me, myself, and I, buddy. I is
Shut-
its own word. I in itself deserves to be in the same.
I
S,
don't
just
care
because
if
it has
I is its own
grammatical-
word.
It deserves. It has its own grammatical rule, and it's its own
I
word.
do not care.
But you can't put it in the same tier as B tier.
Okay,
That's
put
not
it in
even
A
fair.
and we'll call it a day, alright?
No.
Put it in A, call it a day.
A tier.
No.
I
Chris,
is A
you
tier.
will
It is
not
not
submit.
S.
You will
He's
not
not
submit.
letting us
That
go.
letter has another I.
I-
You will
He's not letting us
submit.
go.
I
You will not submit,
Nick,
buddy. It is
I-
I in S tier, and I am not giving this up because clearly it deserves to be an S tier. It has it's its own.
Listen
word.
to this,
it's
Nick.
its own word.
You want to listen to this, Nick. Okay, you're not ready for this. I and I, as in eyeball. Boom. I's A tier.
But
We're
then it's
done
making
here.
it sound more
Put
confusing
it
than what
put
it
it in
is.
A tier before he puts it in B.
No. I deserves to be in its S tier. I don't think why should we even do
No,
that to
it does not. I is not an S tier letter, okay?
I
You
is
have
an
to
S tier
earn
letter.
S
It
tier.
did. It does. It literally earns it. It has earned it
How?
throughout the stages of time. It literally describes itself. It's a whole word. Just because you put
All-
eyeball and you're putting it with E and Y and E. That's not fair because eyeball is
No.
EYE. EYE, buddy. You
Nick.
can't put just letter E.
Nick, shut up, okay? Just because I is its own word doesn't mean it's automatically S tier. That's
It
not
has
how
its
this
own
works.
grammatical rule with E, which is also another S tier letter. You can't just diminish it just because it has
Nick.
its own grammatical rule. If that's
Nick.
the case, then we gotta diminish E
Nick.
because of that case.
No. I is an A tier because it also causes confusion because of both that rule and because it serves part of the purpose of E. It's the E wannabe, and therefore
No,
it has to be
that's
one
not
lower than
true.
E.
E is literally
Yes,
the
it
I
is.
wannabe. E is gonna become the I wannabe.
How is E? What? Now you're discounting E? Listen
No,
to this,
I'm not
Chris.
discounting it. I'm
He
just
has no
saying-
clue what he's talking about.
What are
He's
you
Keep it
talking
in
about?
A, Nick,
What?
and we'll let it go.
No,
He's
no, no, no. I'm not
discounting
letting
the
it go.
importance
I'm
of
not letting
E.
it
People
go
know
because
that
it
we think
deserves
it's
to
A.
be an
Okay,
S tier.
Nick,
the people know that we think it's an S tier, okay? Just because Corwin does, that's Corwin's fault that he's putting it in
No,
A tier,
I'm not
okay?
gonna let this
It is
this
not
list get ruined
S.
by one
Nick,
goddamn vote.
Nick,
It deserves
Nick,
to
shut
be
up.
in its
Nick,
S tier
shut
like
up.
it's
We can
respected.
come back to this later, okay? We're gonna keep it here. We have to move on.
How are we putting it behind A? That's not fair. It deserves to be in front of A. So it should be I.
Yeah,
Well,
but
you
put it in
put
front
it
of A,
behind
put it in front
A,
of A.
fool. You put
That
it
was
behind A. I put it in
used.
front of A.
Run the cameras.
Alright, J.
J is F tier. No.
Yep,
no,
agreed.
no.
Yep, agreed.
That's it.
I'm sorry. J definitely did
Alright.
F tier.
Alright, now
Have you guys seen
K,
those memes
K.
of the J? If your name starts with J.
J is D tier.
I think I agree with
Yeah,
that.
I agree with that too. Pretty much.
L.
Yep.
Now this L, man, it's at least a B, I think.
Honestly, I think it's S.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, buddy.
Oh,
okay,
no.
let's hear
Oh,
the
no.
reasoning. Let's hear the reasoning here.
Alright. First of all, L is a very useful letter, and a lot of the time L is so royal in its L ways that you use two of them in one word, and it is very common to use two L's in one word.
But that
You
makes
need
it sound
two
worse
instead of
because
one.
if you need two instead of one to make the
How
same
does it-
sound, that lowers its value because
You
it
don't
can't stand by
need it.
itself.
You don't need it to make the sound. You need the two L's to properly represent how good L is.
I feel like it doesn't properly
You should
represent
know,
what doesn't
William!
show. It should be.
You know what else is also in there? Your brain dead noggin.
Dude, this list is getting absolutely crapped on because of this dictatorship. L deserves to be an A tier. I deserves to be an
No.
S tier.
Chris,
That's how it should be.
Chris, what do you
rolling.
think? Chris, what do you think?
I think L goes in A tier.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alright,
High A tier.
fine.
High
But
A tier.
Yeah,
L
it
is
deserves
better
to be
than
right
I.
here. It literally deserves to be right here. No, 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 no.
L is better than I. L is better than
No, it
I.
is not. No, it is not.
How?
Name
In
me the
what
one
way
name
is
me the
L
one
not
grammatical
better
rule
than
with
I?
L in it. You can't. You can't.
Yeah,
Okay,
which
let's
makes
just
it
like
so
this.
easy
Like
to
this.
L can't even
use.
stand by
You can
itself.
use
L can't
L.
even stand by itself.
L
can't
is
even-
such
L
a
can't even stand
simple
by itself.
letter, which
L
makes
can't.
it better than I. What? How is I nearly as good as you guys are saying? I know it's its own flippin' word, but that doesn't mean crap, okay? That has nothing to do with the I letter, okay? That's just the English
Yeah, but the
language.
letter
That's
is
word
also a
tier list,
word
okay?
too.
If you want
It
to
has
put
its
the
own
word
grammatical
I high
word.
up in a tier list, that's fine, but it does not earn the S tier.
Because it can stand
You
by
need
itself.
to go
It deserves
above
to be S tier.
and beyond.
It does go above and beyond.
So
It
does
literally
A!
It
A
goes above
stands
and
by itself as well! It's
But we
not an S
understand-
tier, is
But we
it?
understand why A isn't because it's just not it. I is it, bro. It is him.
You
it is him.
saying
It
it's
has
not
him.
it doesn't mean
is him.
crap.
And him has I in it, which means that automatically it deserves to be an S.
We're going to M. We're going to M.
This tier list is going to be thrown if we don't put I
Alright,
in the S tier. I just don't feel good with it.
Shut up, Nick. I is not in S tier.
It literally is an
I
S tier.
is. There is no universe in which I is in S tier.
Yeah, okay, we can make it this universe because it's literally in every other universe. I is S tier.
It is not.
I is
I
S tier.
is in S tier in zero
I is
universes.
literally
If you
S
put
tier.
I in
Oh.
S tier, then there's no point in making this tier list because it means nothing.
No, it doesn't mean
It has
anything.
no
But
rules,
you-
it has no
you-
basis, it
and
has
you
no
said-
foundation.
I mean,
My
you put the
reasoning
same
makes
points as I
sense.
am.
I'm putting logic and reasoning into
I am
why I think
putting
I is A
logic and
tier.
reasoning
How can
into
you
this.
not? How can you
How are you
not be
dismissing a
happy
whole
with
pronoun?
I being
You're
at the
literally
top of A
dismissing a whole
tier?
pronoun.
You
You're
are
dismissing a whole
ungrateful.
pronoun,
You
bro.
are ungrateful.
Alright, and then M
That's
goes in B
fine.
after that,
Alright,
alright?
it's gonna be
Whatever.
that.
M goes in B, but we are
Yeah,
not
M
moving
goes
I
in B.
until the end. We need to have a
No, we're
proper.
gonna
What do you
ruin
think it
this
is?
tier
We need
list
to
if we
have-
don't put I in the
Nick,
S
shut
tier.
up! Shut up, Nick. You are not making this any better. We are going to have a civil discussion about why
I've been
where
having
I
a
deserve to be
civil
at the
discussion.
end of this.
Oh
Where
my
does O
God.
belong? O belongs in S tier. O is in S tier.
Whoa.
Okay, I can agree.
Whoa.
I can agree. I can agree with that
Whoa.
statement.
Chris agrees.
I got
Chris
this.
agrees with me.
Whoa.
O is in S tier,
Wait a
okay?
minute, why is O in S tier?
O is in S tier
Let's hear
because
Nick's reasoning. Why do you
okay,
think it's not
why
S tier,
isn't
Nick?
it an S tier? Huh? Let's hear it. Let's
I
hear it.
believe it deserves to be an A tier. I feel like it should be tied with L. Personally, just
How?
because
In
I feel
what
like
way?
you guys are giving it more bias because it's literally in your name, Christopher and Corin. It's not very fair to give it, that high of elevation. But all it is
You're
just a
one to
circle.
talk, Mr. I! Where does P belong?
PP deserves
That's
to
tough.
be in C. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
Agreed. Alright,
Alright.
Q.
Q is F. Q is
Yeah,
F.
Q is F. Like, nobody even uses Q. What's the point?
Q is
Okay.
low F. Okay,
Fair.
you cannot use Q without also using U. It is so garbage.
I would actually put it high F.
I'm
No.
personally putting it
Q
Because
is
low
worse
it's
F.
so
than J.
unique, because no one
Q.
ever uses it.
Q is worse than J.
Wait,
Being
listen to
unique
this,
and
though. Listen to this.
no one ever uses it, which just goes to show how bad it is. Q is
Listen.
the worst letter.
Hey.
R is an easy S tier.
The outline is ruining the tier list. Come on.
My bad, bro.
There you go, thank you. R.
Easy S tier.
Oh,
Easy.
that's interesting.
R is an easy S tier. There's no debate to
Can
have.
we hear the
R
reasoning
is
on
just-
why?
Yeah.
Why? What do you not understand about it not being in? It is quite simple. R is one of the best letters.
I feel like I would be happy
Putting it
with
in
its
low S
location.
tier.
I feel like it should deserve to be top A, but I'm happy with low S.
I think honestly F is low H because
Yeah.
you don't need S. You have C. You don't.
Yeah, see, that's what makes it bump down a little bit. But I mean, we are
Yeah,
putting
exactly.
C higher than B, but like the C sound makes the same as the S sound. There's really no point to having S.
S is better than C because it is used a lot more and it
True.
is more distinct.
And
But
yeah, it does have the
they
more
share the
distinct,
same sound, so that bumps S down.
Ooh,
T.
T.
This is a tough one.
What are we
honestly,
feeling? I
think
feel like
A tier.
A tier. Yeah, A tier.
Yeah, I agree. A tier.
Are we going
I
like
think better
mid
than
A?
A.
Yeah, we're going mid A. I feel like that should deserve
Okay.
to be a
Yep.
spot.
I think easy letter. Easy
That
letter.
Yeah,
one's pretty
easy.
easy.
U.
Okay.
U.
U. I
U's a
think is
tough
low
one.
D.
Low D. That's
Yeah,
that's
I do
Low
not like
D.
U.
I don't know.
I do not like D.
Honestly, I'm
I
prone to
don't
put it
know.
at low C.
I
I
put
think
it-
I bump it up. I want to bump it up.
Can we do high D?
I feel like we should put
High
high
D.
D. High D. I think it should be
I think
better
it's
than
low
H.
C
I
because
think
even though U isn't a great letter, it is not at the level of H, G, and K, which actively cause confusion.
absolute W.
V.
Ooh, V. Can we go with?
I don't have an opinion on V, honestly.
Can
it is
we
not
go
A
with,
and it is not S, and that's all I can say.
I feel like it should like be D last D. I don't.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
there's
don't really
there's
like
no
it.
words that use V really. Like think about it. It's such an unused.
I mean, V is
letter.
velocity. There is velocity.
Oh, I hate physics.
And
so
it has-
automatically
and
goes
V-
to F.
That's one.
Yeah, that's really it. I guess
Wow.
I will let you put U in front of V if we bump P down to bottom C.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely
Okay.
like W with that.
I can.
live with
Okay,
that.
let's
All right.
swap these two,
Compromise,
because
ladies and gentlemen.
P-
This is what
P is
compromise looks
definitely
like.
This is
Something
the
worse
that
than
compromise
does
of
not have.
1850 right here.
All right, now for W.
Obviously S tier.
W is
W-
a tough one.
Yeah, you can't.
Honestly,
when
I'm
you introduce
not
it-
a big fan of W. I'm not a big fan. Of
Okay,
I'm
Corin.
gonna be honest. Like, what kind of name is W? Okay, it's
It's
not even
literally
two U's.
W.
It's two V's. So that's misinformation. Honestly, I think that bumps it down to low B because other than that, it is a solid letter.
Are we putting it above D and M though? I don't know. I don't feel comfortable.
No,
with
we're
that.
putting it below D and M.
I don't
It's
know.
bottom B.
The negatives outweigh the positives, so I think it's B.
Yeah,
All
low
right.
B tier, 100%. X. X is D tier.
Yep. This one's pretty cut and dry.
Honestly, X is worse than K,
Pretty
because
much. Yep.
it's literally just the sound of C and then S.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
You already have two letters that make the same sound. You take that and you just double it, and it's just garbage. X is garbage.
Yeah.
It
I
has
think
a
I agree.
decent shape,
agree.
but that's
Why?
literally it. That's the one thing that
Yeah.
keeps it out of F, is the shape.
Mhm.
Why? Why does it exist?
C.
Why does it exist?
I think D as well. I think it partners up with X high
Still a
F.
vowel.
Why does it exist? Why does it exist? It does not need to exist.
Still a
It's
vowel
literally
sometimes.
You know what Y is? I can describe Y in 2 words. Imposter syndrome.
It does
It's
imitate
literally only
U,
useful
but we
in other
put U in
languages,
C
and we're
tier,
ranking
so
it
I
in
feel
the
like it
English
deserves to be
alphabet.
low D tier. I think it deserves to get knocked down 1. I don't think it deserves to be knocked down the lowest tier. I feel like it deserves to be knocked down 1. It is suffering from imposter syndrome, but you can say that with a lot of other
Nick.
these letters. And, you
Nick.
know, it does have its use
In what-
sometimes.
what does Y do that another letter cannot do?
Like, give an example,
does
like
Y-
fly.
Fly, just replace Y with I. Fly. Boom.
But then it looks weird. Looks weird. Why makes it natural?
It only looks weird because we're used to Y being there. If it was FLI and it had always been like that, people would see it as normal.
If we go to the next letter Z, I think it goes in between X and Y. So I think that would be a
That's fair.
good middle ground between Y.
You know
and
what?
X,
If we are putting
because
D,
you're arguing, Nick, that
yeah,
because you're arguing that Y should be lower than X, but I think that Z is in between. So even if that was the case, I think it goes down a level.
Yeah.
yeah. You know what? I can see this. I respect this. All right.
Here is our tier list.
No, not yet.
Yay,
not
we
yet.
finally
Not yet.
maybe
Not yet. Not yet. Not
Uh-oh.
yet.
Now to the
Not
I
yet.
controversy.
The I controversy. This ain't our final tier list yet because I deserves to be
Okay.
an S.
Okay.
Higher than R.
We're going to do this in a civil
Lower than
manner,
R.
okay? First, we'll have Nick present his argument. Then I'll present my argument. Then I will rebut Nick's argument, say what I have to say about that. Then Nick can rebut my argument. Chris can say something about that. I will respond, Nick will respond, and then we can go from there, okay? So Nick, why do you think I has earned the S tier?
Okay, I got multiple points to come up here with. Alright, first, it is the only letter in the English alphabet that can also be used as its own word, other than A. Other than A, I understand, okay. And personally, just that alone gives it such a higher edge over, like, R. You know, personally, R can't stand by itself. You know, that sounds like, you know, if you just put R in a text, you sound like, you know, like, hey, are you ready? Like, bro, just spell out A-R-E. It's not even that hard. But with I, you have to include I because it's standalone. It makes sense to be standalone. It's proper English, right? We need proper English to really announce and name our words. Now, coming up to my second point, I is used to denote the self or the first person. Now, me, myself, you know, I am important. You know, I. It is important itself. You know, being that it's the only one with the person in POV, I feel like it deserves to have its own tier up because of that. R can't do it, O can't do it, and E can't do it. And I'm not saying that E deserves definitely to be in S tier. O, I can see it too. But I mean, I has got to be greater than R. Just because of the sole fact that, you know, R can't stand alone. It can't denote any POV. And, you know, I is the signal word for, you know, in books of first person. You know, usually authors start off with I, you know, or something along those lines of first person with I. And, you know, you can't just have that if we're just putting it in A tier. It wouldn't be as important if we're putting it in A tier as it is for S tier for author. Third, it is a vowel. And clearly vowels are actually pretty important other than that we put in U and Y. But we're putting O and E. And I feel like it should be in its own club, the vowel club of the top vowel clubs. I'm not saying it's good as E or O, but I is certainly up and respectable, you know. And lastly, my point, it's just damn well attractive. All right, now what other letter word is going to have that dot and that I? Like, no other letter has that, you know, dot. It's him. It has that long slender, you know, and then it has the dot at the top. It shows that it's ready, and it's time for it to be an S tier. I rest my case.
So,
my argument
for I being an S tier, an A tier. First of all, I is a vowel. It pulls its way. Okay.
Jesus Christ, he can't spell.
Whoa, what is this spelling?
You can't spell with I.
Ignore that.
See, bro's unintentionally using more I's, alright?
Exactly.
More I's.
Yeah, because
Eyes
you wanna know why?
good.
Because
Eyes
I is
that
overused.
good.
Honestly, I is overused.
You can't say that after your argument for E.
Yeah.
I will admit that I having its own word and that word meaning self, that does give it a few points. But it should not give it automatic S tier status, okay? That with being a vowel does not give it... Okay, first off, in order for that to be a thing, in order for I to be its own word, it would have to be a vowel. So you can't use that argument along with it being a vowel, okay? That should fall under the same category, okay? Obviously, it gets more points than other vowels, but you can't give points for it being its own word, and also being a vowel, like two separate things. Okay, those fall under the same category because in order for it to be its own word, it would have to be a vowel. Second, the meaning of the word I should not mean that I is a good letter, okay? Simply because having its own word and the meaning of the word is irrelevant to the letter, okay? They gave that word the meaning for something completely unrelated to the sound or the abilities of the letter I, okay? Its own word, self, and vowel, they are all one thing that admittedly gives the I a good amount of points, but that's it. And you're saying that I is attractive. It's not. It's just a line. Okay? It's a line with a dot on the top. How unoriginal can you get? Okay? First off, capital I is very often confused with lowercase l, which is honestly an L to the letter I. Which that and the I before E rule, which makes a lot of
Oh my
confusion
god, I
in the
forgot to
English
bring that up
language.
too. Yeah, it's also its own
The
grammatical
I
rule.
before E rule brings confusion to the English language because of the exceptions and the confusion it makes. Therefore, those 2 points alone, I think, bring it down to at least high A tier. And one final point, a lot of the time, I can be replaced reasonably with I makes the same sounds that E can make. I rest my case.
Alright. I'd like
Yes,
to
let's
counter the
hear
defense.
the counter for Nick.
I don't think it's overused. If we're using overused, then E certainly shouldn't be an S, but we clearly put an S because it's the most common, letter in the alphabet, and it's not used as often as most people would think. Sure, I is used a lot, when you're starting off from kindergarten all the way up to 8th or ninth grade, you're using I in personal pronouns, but still, even that much use, you're not using as much as other letters like E or O, that also deserve in its S tier. Now, it's its own word, moving it down because it's a vowel and it's its own word. I feel like just because it's a vowel and its own word, I think it just makes it that much more special. Now, I did say, we agreed that A was, an A tier, which because it bumped it down, but that's because it's not as powerful as I. I has totally more meanings than A. What even is the definition of A? You just put A, it's just a thing, right? It's just a thing. But I means so much more. It should be in the S tier, below O, and then obviously, of course, in front of R. Your next point, attractive, definitely not, because it's unoriginal with a line and a dot on top. And you also said that it was, can be confused with the capital letter of L, just the lowercase L. Which frankly, that is a personal thing, like most people put the, the line, like that for the L, and it does get confusing. Most English teachers have put I, and made that L, and then makes it really confusing, but College Board makes it pretty distinct, and I feel like we should be going off College Board's thing, because we are College Board students, even though we do hate College Board. I don't think we should denounce it just because College Board use it, and many MLA professors also use it, as the L like that. And secondly, just because it is just a line with a dot on top, I mean, come on, it's just so much more than that. It's a beautiful symmetrical line placed on top with a dot. I mean, where are you ever gonna see it? There is no other dot.
Bro, literally J. Did you forget what J is?
Let's not talk about J. J is F tier. Right. We literally forget F. Nobody cares about J, right? We forgot it. We put it in F tier, right? Obviously, nobody cares. So other than J, which is the only defense, it's just symmetrically, and it's not symmetrically as beautiful as I. J has that curve, and really, I'm much of a curve man myself, but personally I like the line, I like its symmetricalness, and the dot in there, and then even if you add the capital letter I, which has the two lines, and it's just all symmetrical, it's perfect. It's very ergonomic to the human body to have it like that. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I did not use that.
Let me review your statements here. First of all, a lot of what you said was just word salad. Like, a lot of what this thing, I, me, myself, and I, that doesn't mean anything. Like I said, just because that the word I has meaning has nothing to do with the letter itself. Your argument that I is one of the only letters with the dot on the top, that just means that I is incomplete. It is one of 2 letters out of 26 that is not complete, okay? It has 2 separate bits, and the only other letter that does that is J, the second worst letter in the alphabet, okay? S tier should be reserved for the best of the best letters. If you're in S tier, you have done almost nothing wrong. Maybe you have one single thing that is wrong with you, but you more than make up for it with how versatile and useful you are. I is not versatile and useful to the point that it overshadows its shortcomings, okay? In order to be in the S tier, has to go above and beyond, and it just doesn't, okay? Its uppercase design can be confused with L. It has two uppercase designs that are interchangeable, which makes it confusing, even though literally no other letter has that problem, okay? It has a confusing rule. It can be replaced with E. Those things alone should bop it down to A tier, okay? You should be happy that I is an A tier. Because to be honest, personally, I think it's low A, high B.
All right.
So I'm being generous, letting you have I above L, T, and A.
All right. To refute the defense's point, what do you mean that it just doesn't have like it is its own word, and the word itself is actually really important to you? Are you saying you're not
going back to this point?
Because it's that important. I wouldn't come back to it if it wasn't that important, because it is. It's not its only case, but it is very reasonable to say that, I is really important, and it means a lot of things to you because you are important. So I feel it deserves to be bumped up to S. And another thing with the grammatical rule, it isn't that confused. And all grammatical rules really have it itself a very confusing aspect to it. But to say, it's so special that it has its own grammatical rule. I don't think we should just announce it because it has a confusing grammatical rule. I think I before E except after C. I think that's pretty cut and dry. Sure, there are other counterexamples to the grammatical rule.
And when sounding like A.
But you could say that with literally
the
a
rule.
Lot of other letters
that rule is not a point in I's favor. It's a point taken away from I. And
I don't think you can nullify it just because of its. I don't think it's.
Yes, you can. It has so many shortcomings that it being its own word and meaning self is thus nullified because of how bad it's.
So then why are we denouncing E?
The confusion of the design.
E is also in that same confusion with that same boat. So why aren't we denouncing
because
E?
Why are you coming at E, the unanimously decided best letter, just because I isn't where you think it should be, huh?
I'm not coming after E.
This is an argument about I, not E. You are coming after E. You said, if I doesn't belong here, what about E? Why don't we denote E? You're coming after E. I is too similar to E in the wrong ways, and not similar enough to E in the ways that E excels. I is the E wannabe. That's all I is.
I don't think it. I think E could also be the I wannabe in some cases if we're talking, other words.
How? How? In what way? E comes first in the alphabet. E does way more than I does. I is the E wannabe, and that is that. Redeeming factor about I is its own word, and it means self, which is why it's an A tier and not C.
Well, that's not its only rule here. And if we're going by which comes first, then why didn't we put A, B, C, and then just go off from that? A should be an S, B should be an S, and that way. We didn't do it by that. You just because it comes first doesn't mean it's more important.
Chris, you've heard my argument. I'm sure you've been listening to our two sides of the story. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yes, and the thing is, I also know where Nick is coming from. I know where both of you guys are coming from, and both make sense. I don't know where to put it anymore.
I will present one more point, which I think will be the nail in the coffin to keep I in A tier. And it's that if we allow I to be an S tier, along with 3 other letters, we are overinflating the S tier. It takes away the meaning of being top tier. E, O, and R have most definitely, without a doubt, excelled to the point that they belong in S. But if we put I in S tier, that would mean there are 4 letters in S tier and only 3 in A tier. When it comes to S tiers, I is an honorable mention, but in order to keep the integrity of this tier list and the integrity of the S tier, we have to bump I
Notice
down
how
to
we
A tier.
use I in both of those. Tell me how you can use E in that. Tell me how you can use E in that, Corin.
Very top of the A tier, though.
I don't see, but here he's using with inflation,
close,
right? He's using here. Listen to me. Listen. He's using inflation, but we understand that the S category it's special. Each letter is special to the English alphabet,
which is my point.
here, it wouldn't be deflating it. Because if we look at here, we put F, we put 4 letters in F, right? So it's just the same as F, and we put 5 letters in D, 5 letters in C, right? It's not denouncing the A tier, because we understand what A tier is. We understand why L is in A, T is in A, and we understand why we put L, T, and A in that order, because we know what A stands for. We know what the bar is, and I would be just at that bar over the S and not under the bar.
We didn't establish a solid foundation for each tier. S tier, we just kind of assumed each letter and where they would be. Let's just say S tier is for the most crucial, most definitive letters in the English alphabet. You need them. I would be in that tier.
Thank you.
In the 2 top tiers are where letters that we could not have the English language without. That's where they belong. But S is for letters that go above and beyond. They do more than what they were meant to do, okay? They have more purpose. C tier is supposed to represent the average letter, okay? These letters do exactly what a letter should do. It makes the sound, it is used when the sound is used, and that's it. It doesn't go above and beyond. It may have some shortcomings and some things that make it better, which cancel out and make it average. C is the average. D is below average. They either do their job poorly or they make confusion. And F tier is they just could absolutely be eliminated, and the English language would be almost no different, okay? Now B tier is not only do they serve their purpose, but they are either used a lot or they have specific value that an average letter would not have. A tier, that's like 90 to 100%, okay, when it comes to the grade scale, okay? A tier, you have done more than what is expected of you. You have done more than most other letters, okay? But S tier is like extra credit, okay? You've done everything you were supposed to do. You've gone beyond what you were supposed to do. And on top of that, you also carry the language on your back. There are a lot of cases in which I could be replaced with E. The main worth that I has is in having its own letter. You cannot give a letter the above and beyond S tier for having one very good
Chris, I'm gonna need to
okay?
refute this, alright, before you
have
make
to
your
be
decision.
you have to be a sort of jack of all trades that is good at just about every single thing that it does, okay? And I is not good at every single thing that it does. I rest my case.
Alright, now it's my turn to make my closing argument. And, what's great about this entire thing is that, we've had a whole conversation about I, and in and of itself, doesn't that just shows how important I is into the conversation of why it should be S. Now, I understand that all these letters are carried by by itself for the English alphabet. And that's what makes distinctly.
Can I refute that real quick? I will refute that by saying.
No, you closed your case. I will refute it.
No, I did not. I did not close my case. Nick was the first one to present his case.
You said it. No. You said it.
Alright.
Okay, let's hear it, Nick.
Defense has closed its argument. I shall make the prosecution.
I have not closed my argument. I closed mine after yours.
Why do I have to go? Okay, I guess I am the prosecuting attorney, so I do have to go last.
You went first, so I get to go last, okay? That's how it works.
Okay, that's not how it works in court, but sure. Anyways, Corin says how there was no hesitancy. Well, I mean, there was hesitancy on my part, how O and R should not be S tier, right? The fact that I feel so strongly and he feels so strongly. And at the first part, Chris, you also agreed with me and you were unanimous. You just folded under the pressure of both me and Corin arguing at the same time, so you can't make up a decision there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that shows pressure.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, O and R, right, I didn't put up defense because, I frankly feel they should be S. I do have some arguments against them. Like, I mean, for example, O, it has the same case with I. Some cases, you can use a different letter for O, as in for, like hawk. I'm not hawk, sorry, that's A, but like, the awk sound, like hockey.
It can spell. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like hockey and the awk sound could be used with A. What's the point, right? Being as it is, it can be replaced with, words. E can be replaced with words. O can be replaced with words. It has a carry. I can also carry too, right? It can hold its own weight. deserving to be an S. It can be used so much and not be degrading to its score. It's its own category of specialty that I think should not be denounced to A, but should be an S. And I feel like if we denounce it to A, I think we might be overinflating A, because I is just that good. Put it in S, leave it at that, and we complete the tier list with a solid score that everybody can agree with.
If a letter can hold its own, that means it belongs in A or B tier, okay? Now, in order for it to be S tier, like I have said so many times that you don't seem to understand, it has to go above and beyond, okay? Being able to hold its own, being able to be used a lot, that doesn't alone make it able to be an S tier, okay? And it being its own word does not, even along with those things, allow it to be an S tier, simply because it's a one-time gimmick. It is one thing that it does. If it had those things alone, then sure, maybe it would be S tier. But what holds it back from S tier is its multitude of shortcomings, both its confusing and extremely basic design, both with it being the only capital letter with two different designs, and its lowercase being one of two only letters that are two separate forms. It shares the design with J, the second worst letter on the alphabet, okay? To put it simply, I does not go above and beyond. It does not meet the final criteria for S tier, and thus, why it belongs in A.
Alright, Chris, you've heard the two
is that everyone's final argument?
Yes, I feel like that's my ending closing. I closed my argument, he closed his argument.
I feel, since I am being thrown into the role of judge here,
pretty much,
I feel that it is not my duty to present my own argument. And I will choose based on just your two guys' arguments alone.
Alright.
And based on that, with a 2-to-1 vote, I will have to put I in the category of A tier.
Let's go! Let's go!
Now, of course, if I were to use my own argument, I would be a biased judge and therefore put it in S tier, but I'm trying to be unbiased here, and I think, just based on the pure arguments that I've heard, I is the top of A tier, possibly a very small chance it could be bottom of S tier.
As always, we got into a big fight,
a big
conflict, but that's just the nature of the elbows on channel. But let's go. We finished our first tier list.
Let's go, baby. And as much as I disagree with this tier list, just because of one letter, I do think it was a pretty solid list.
This is the current canon letter tier list.
Yes.
Please put them in the comments, and maybe in the future we can revisit this one. I don't know when, but we can revisit it in the future at some point. But thank you guys for watching our first tier list video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time on the Elbozon's channel, where chaos is the only rule.
Sayonara. What's happening to Nick?
He's dead. Nick's just dead. He's gone.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is our final tier list. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and whatever else you do. See you later.